All right, good morning. At least it's morning when I'm recording. I don't know if it's morning when you're watching, but hopefully that doesn't matter much. So this is week 15. I have to apologize to you. I thought I had uploaded a bunch of stuff for last week, and that didn't all happen at all. So you've got another week sort of free to work on things, whether for this class or another class. Um, let's see. So we are really just going to be, this is probably the shortest video, I hope, that we'll do. Certainly it's the least amount of content because this is officially Dead Week. Well, I don't know. Is it official or is it unofficial? Anyway, the end is near, and so there's no new content this week, but I do want to talk to you about some of the details of end of the semester. So this is our last week together. You do have an activity this week, but there are no peer review activities since I goofed last week. Week 15's activity I'll talk about in just a couple of minutes, but it is designed to help you in the revision process. So it's something that you should be doing anyway. You're just going to be getting credit for it is the idea. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the final client project submission. This was introduced during week 13. But I want to go over those directions and information again, and then also share with you your opportunity for extra credit that will be available to you, and I think will be helpful for you. So that's all we're going to be talking about. I do want to remind you, I know we talked about and you've already read a little bit about revising your work, but I do want to remind you that your written work does stand alone, and so if you haven't included something, your reader really doesn't know. And so as you go through the process of revising your work, you really want to be asking yourself, have I included everything that I need? Have I gone through all the steps that I need to go through to ensure that this work is going to get as many points as possible towards my final grade? And so remember, this is a process. It does take time. This is something that you cannot do at the last minute and expect to do really well on. So just please remember that and take some time this week before the assignments due next week. Okay, so week 15 activity is really designed to help you with this revision process. And so what I'm going to suggest is that you go to the week 15 module and consult the directions here that are posted. And I'm going to pull those up and kind of walk you through those so that you have a clear idea of what you need to do with this activity this week. So this is based on the process of revision, and if you need to review the revising your work handout from week 13, you can do that. But basically there are about 4 tasks here that I want you to complete. The first one is I want you to choose either your fact sheet, your news release, or your social media release. And before you consider the comments, the suggestions, the edits that I have put or indicated for you, print out a copy of what you turned in for that particular assignment. So if you choose the news release, print out a copy of the news release that you submitted, not the one that has my comments or anything, the one that was graded, but print out what you turned in, okay? And it's really important that you print out rather than just work with the document on a screen. There is something that is very different about revising your work in hard copy than as opposed to just looking at it and working with it on a screen, okay? You are going to need the printed out version because you're going to have to turn that in later on the sheet here. So there's 2 major steps 2 and 3, that you're going to complete here. You're going to use that revising your work handout and kind of go through the 2 processes that it outlines. The first one is considering whether or not the assignment you submitted meets the expectations laid out in the assignment sheet. So you may need to go back and look at the assignment sheet that accompanies the submission that you're looking at, okay? You need to ask yourself, did I fulfill the assignment? Did I say what I intended to say? What are the strengths of my work and what are the weaknesses of my work on this particular assignment? So if you're using the news release, those are the questions you're going to ask, okay, yourself. Then you're going to write a summary of your responses in a kind of a paragraph form. I want you to think about if you didn't fulfill the elements of the assignment, if you didn't say what you intended to say, talk a little bit about why you think that happened. Respond honestly. Certainly, I am not going to penalize you for being candid here. The process is what's important. I really want you to go through this process. You might find out that you completely missed a section. That's okay. That's what this revision process is for, okay? Then item number 3 talks about the 4 kinds of revision, okay? And again, it goes back to this reading from week 13. We talked about large-scale revision, small-scale revision, editing, and proofreading, okay? I want you to go through each of those 4 elements. So you are doing the revision on one of the items, okay? So you're already going to be doing this anyway, but you're doing it and you're getting credit for it, okay? I want you to reflect on what you noticed during the process of each of these 4 revisions. Write another brief summary, okay? Assess your own work. Did you need a lot of revision? Did you not need a lot of revision? Was it kind of somewhere in between, and why was that? I want you to talk briefly about that revision process, and then what is easiest or hardest for you. Just talk a little bit about that, okay? So you probably end up with maybe 3 paragraphs there. And then the last task I want you to do is I want you to submit either a scanned copy, so if you scan it in, or you can take photos, right? You can take digital photos of the revisions you made on the piece that you printed out, okay? And along with your summaries that you've typed into a Word document, insert those images into the document, okay? And arrange it so that it makes sense, because again, remember, I only have the written document from you, so make sure that it makes sense. If you use photos, they do have to be put into the same document, okay? If you submit a scanned copy, make sure that it's saved as a PDF and you submit it as a second document. You should be able to submit more than one item for this weekly activity, okay? Please note there's a little caveat here. This is due on April 30th, which is Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. Again, I mean, this is sort of your last assignment. I may be able to grant you a deadline extension if you need it, but you need to get in touch with me as soon as possible about that, okay? The extension will only be until Tuesday, May 2nd at that 11:59 p.m. time, okay? That's 1 day prior to your final assignment submission date and time, okay? So don't forget about this. This is, again, to help you with your revision process. Just to kind of draw some attention to what you're going to do there is you're going to use one of those 3 elements, the fact sheet, the news release, or social media analysis. You're going to evaluate your work, and then you're going to do some revisions. You're going to write a summary about each of those, and then you're going to submit either photos of your revision or a scanned copy of what you printed out and revised, all on that week 15 activity spot. Okay, so in looking at your final client project, we've talked about the revision process. And in your final project, what you have revised, or what you will have revised, is your organization profile, the fact sheet, the news release, and the social media analysis. Today, the social media analysis grades and feedback will be posted by the end of the day. So you need to make sure you go back and look at all of those so that you can make the revisions. And then you need to add an introduction and a summary to your project. So let's go here. I want to draw your attention to the directions. We're going to scroll down all the way to the end here. You can see this is where your week 15 activity goes, and this is where your week 16, okay, finals week. This is where your revised submission goes, okay, and this is where the specific directions are. There's kind of a handout here, but you can see all the directions here. And so what I want to draw your attention to is this is the stuff that you've completed. okay, to kind of eliminate the peer feedback because we didn't do a whole lot of that this semester. But you're going to make revisions. That's step one. Make sure that you incorporate feedback from the edits and things that I gave you. And then an important thing to know about here is that you do have to enhance the element in some way. So if you got a 50 out of 50, or you only had to get a couple of things fixed, you do need to think about how do you sort of level up your assignment. Take this chance to incorporate some of the things that you've learned in class between the time you turned in the first version and the time you turn in the final version. Also, I want to draw your attention to the Super Communicator book. He's got lots of great ideas for how to kind of level up, all right? Now, the second thing you need to do is make sure that you write an introduction and a summary that goes with your items, okay? Obviously, the introduction is going to go at the front, the summary is going to go at the end, and in the intro, I want you to talk briefly about the purpose of each of the elements that you've done this semester, and provide kind of an introduction, some context to what somebody looking at this client portfolio will see, okay? Briefly talk about the process you went through to create this portfolio for your client. So this is an opportunity. Again, this is instead of a final exam. And so what you're doing here is you need to look back at the content and information from the semester and provide some context to your final project for a reader. Okay? Then in your summary, I'm asking you to provide kind of an assessment of how well, based on what you've learned this semester, how well your organization communicates to its public audiences. So you're going to need to make some judgment here, okay? And then you need to provide 3 specific suggestions for improvement. So if in your social media analysis you realized that the organization is prolific on Twitter and tweets a lot, but that there really isn't any theme or rhyme or reason to what they post, a recommendation you could make is to come up with a plan for being strategic in the organization work on Twitter specifically. Okay. If you have questions about this, please let me know. You also do have some examples that you can look at from last spring that are posted to kind of give you an idea of how things are arranged. Then, once you've revised and you have a final professional copy of your materials with your introduction and your conclusion, you need to make sure that you convert everything into one PDF file. This is not something I'm going to teach you how to do. This is something you need to figure out how to do on your own if you don't already know how to do it. This is something that I'm challenging you to learn on your own, okay? It's a fairly straightforward thing. There are a lot of different ways you can do this. Use your resources. You can do something as straightforward as Googling how to convert my Word document into a PDF, okay? So you need to figure this out on your own. The system will only accept PDF documents, okay? So if you're not familiar with how to create a PDF, you want to get started on this long before your deadline because technical difficulties are not a reason for your assignment to be late, okay? So this rule still applies. You're going to submit that single file, that PDF file, to your final client project portfolio in this area here. You need to make sure that your name is in the file name of the document, and then you also need to make sure that your name appears in the document itself. You may create a title page. That is not required, but you may do that if that makes sense for you. You can see the grading breakdown here. Basically, everything, the grades are focused on revision, okay, and then introduction and summary, and then an overall writing quality, okay. So that's worth 75 points. So you can see how everything fits together, okay. So again, submit as a single PDF document, and then I want to talk briefly about this opportunity for extra credit. We haven't talked a lot this semester. There have been a lot of conversations about digital and online, but I haven't talked with you much about this portfolio, this e-portfolio idea. And so I want to kind of drop this into your minds. If you haven't already worked with an online portfolio system, this is something you might consider. The system that we have been using in the Ag and Environmental Sciences Communication Program is called Portfolium. And it's a really great, it's a really great online platform, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But the idea of having an e-portfolio or an online portfolio, there's really a lot of reasons that you might think about doing this. One of the basic, first low-level reasons is to have a place to store your work. A lot of times now, students, especially in communication, are producing work. And so you need a place to kind of keep track of that work or save that work, especially after the semester is over. Having an online place to store your work also sort of allows you to have a chance to look at and reflect on the work that you've done in your first year, your second year, and compare those a little bit to your third and fourth years. So it gives you a chance to kind of look at and show your progress. You can also incorporate information not just from classes, but from internships or part-time work that you do. ePortfolios also give an opportunity for feedback. You can have some of your mentors or instructors or your advisor give you some feedback on your work, on how to improve, things you might sort of try and take to the next level. And then ultimately, really one of the greatest things about ePortfolios, whatever platform or whatever way you present them, they can really give you an advantage in getting a job. And ultimately, that's one of the biggest and most important things. When you get towards graduation, that will become even more important to you. So I know some of you are already there and some of you are further away from that. But the reason that we're doing this, and this is an extra credit opportunity for you in this class, is the AESC program is going to be moving towards incorporating an online portfolio of some type. Usually what we've used in the past is this Portfolium platform, so that's why I'm having you use that for this particular extra credit opportunity. And so this is going to become something that I believe is going to be emphasized in our program here in AESC. So I would suggest, if you have not already got a Portfolium account, I know some of you might, most of you probably don't, I would suggest you watch the video on the Portfolium website. Here's the opportunity to click there. It's a 55-second video. It's not very long at all. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're highlighted as a student here. And then if you haven't got an account, go ahead and start one. If you do have an account, you can click over to log in. And I do have an account. My account looks probably a little different than yours will, but that's okay. I'll show you my profile here. And we'll go back to this in just a minute. I want to make sure I'm hitting all the points on my slide here. So the directions for this are posted on Canvas, and I do want you to take a very close look at those details because they are going to help you make sure that you get all 10 of your points. It's fairly straightforward, but what you're going to do is under the Assignments tab in week 15, like we looked at, week 16, down here at the bottom. Okay, so here's your final client project submission where you need to submit, and then here's the opportunity for extra credit. Okay, let's click on that and take a look. And what you see here is there's an opportunity for you to write just a quick statement saying, I do want you to look at my Portfolium account, and I do want to be considered for the extra credit 10 points. Okay, so by making a little short statement here, just letting you know that, that will trigger in the system me being able to know, okay, you want me to look at your portfolio, all right? You'll also need to connect with me. Make sure that you do that. That's an opportunity here on Portfolium that you can find. And then here's the attached file for the specifics, okay? Let's look at those related to the directions that you need to adhere to, all right? So you can see here in this assignment sheet, you can watch the video again. Anything that's in blue is a hyperlink, okay? So there are 3 things here, 3 short readings. You do not have to do them, but I would recommend them. 2 of them, the first and third, are from the Portfolium blog for students. And then this middle one is about why e-portfolios are just essential tools these days to market yourself for getting a job. Okay? Here, this part is if you don't already have a Portfolium account, go ahead and join. There is some advice or help about getting started in 3 steps, and there's a link right here for that. And then there's also a link to Portfolium's Help Topics section. They have a nice help section. If you already have a Portfolium account, I am going to ask that you review the information that you've got up there, and if you have any updates you have to do, go ahead and do those. So do you think you need a new photo? Have you had work experience or an internship? Are there more classes you need to add? That kind of thing. Okay, so kind of refresh your portfolio, or excuse me, your Portfolium account, your profile, if you need it. Okay. Then, once you've created your account, you need to make sure that you do each of the following for your 10 extra credit points. Complete your profile section, okay, and there's some details here. Upload your most recent resume, okay, when you're in your profile section, you can see over here there's an opportunity, if you scroll down and kind of to the left, there's an opportunity for you to include your resume here, okay? Let's see, gotta go back to where I was there. There we go. Include an entry for this course, okay? And so there's an opportunity for you to add courses that you've taken. Down here at the bottom, you can see I'm using this for another course. Add a course here, okay? That's how you can do that. And make sure that you briefly describe the course. What you can do here is use the syllabus, our course syllabus, and the course description. So that can be just a copy and paste, or you can write your own. That's up to you. I want you to make sure that you connect with at least 5 other classmates from our class. If you look under the people link on Canvas in our course area, you'll find names of your classmates if you don't know them. And then this step is the big one. This is you need to upload your final client project, the PDF, okay, under the portfolio link at the top of the bar menu. Provide a brief description of the assignment to help viewers understand the context of your work. So, when we scroll back up here, this is your profile section. You're going to go to your portfolio section, and you're going to click Add New Work. Okay? You're going to upload your PDF file, and it's going to give you an opportunity to provide a description. Once you've uploaded the file, it's going to say Add a Description. You need to make sure that you complete that to get all the extra credit points, okay? Also, I want to make sure that I'm very clear about this. This is in addition to submitting the PDF on Canvas for your final client project, okay? So you're submitting once on Canvas, and then you're uploading and completing all this stuff on Portfolium for extra credit, okay? If you have questions, please get in touch, and please do so earlier rather than later. Waiting until Wednesday at 4 p.m. is probably not going to get you a response before your assignment's due, so you need to make sure that you work ahead so that you deal with any problems that you've got, okay? I want to show you just a slide here. There are a few examples. This example here is linked. Then there are 2 more examples. These are fairly complete examples and profiles. What I want you to see, though, is some of the descriptions for the work that they have posted. That's why I want you to just take a look quickly at the examples, okay? That should help you. So, as a reminder, your final client project is due Wednesday, the 3rd of May at 11:59 p.m. I think there might have been somewhere listed an earlier deadline. That is incorrect. Any deadline other than this one is incorrect. So, Wednesday the 3rd at 11:59 p.m. you must have uploaded your final client project submission to Canvas and completed, if you wish, for extra credit, your Portfolium work, okay? Please remember, this is the end of the term, so we are not going to have any late submissions that are accepted. I am going to start grading immediately on Thursday morning. So make sure that you are not submitting late, okay? The other thing I wanted to say was thank you so much for a great semester. For those of you who I met in person, thanks so much for coming in and kind of giving me your feedback and your thoughts and talking about questions that you had for the class over the semester. Thanks for being flexible. I really enjoyed teaching online, and I've appreciated, again, your sort of going with the flow and all the changes that have had to be made. So I really appreciate that. You should be getting an email if you haven't already for an online course evaluation. So please do fill those out. That does help us as instructors have ideas about what needs to be improved. Okay, and I can imagine, since this is the first time I'm teaching this class online, that there are probably things that you thought of over the term that would be helpful for me to know and improve for the next time I do this. So thank you for a great semester, and please, if you do get an email, do fill out the course evaluation. Between now and next Wednesday, if you have any questions, please get in touch. I am happy to help you out in any way I can, and I've kind of cleared my week this week, so a lot of what I've got is time to help students with their work. So thanks very much, and let me know if you have any questions. If not, have a great summer.